and then we'll probably give it a little bit to get some folks in, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, let me just pull up where I need to add the thumbnail to the live. Have you ever done a live on YouTube?
Um, I have. Yeah, I have.
Nice. We
I do.
actually
I
go ahead.
do post lives, not live lives. I do like I
What do you
make a
mean?
video and then I post it as a live and then I go through the comments while it's posted. So it's not actually live, but it's posted as though it's live.
Got it. Yeah, we've been doing lives, and it's dude, it's super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Uh we actually end up having like more fun hanging
Mm,
out with people in like the comments. You know what I
that's
mean?
great. Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's yeah.
because it's cool. Like people could react, people could ask you questions, people could point stuff out. Like it's
Mm,
super fun. Da, da, da. Okay, almost there, bro. Almost there. Let me just make sure we mute it. Perfect. And then and then it's already like it gets posted right after. You know, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to edit
mm-hmm.
it. You don't have to anything. Uh oh, we've already got folks on.
Sweet.
Uh
Are we
Br-
live that everybody can see us
yeah,
already?
we're live. Okay, so we're good.
Oh,
Brandy,
sweet.
no Dennis tonight. We've got Brian instead. Dennis is busy. He's got his daughter. Um
But it's
so
important that we talk about this anyways, because I feel like this is timely. Because I feel like right
very
now it's
timely.
very pinnacle
We can't wait
that
for
people.
Dennis.
No, we can't. He can be on later.
Yeah, sorry, bro. The thing is, Dennis could actually hop in. I
Oh,
should let him know.
welcome to pop in anytime.
Hey, and the other cool thing with Riverside, before we start, the other cool thing with Riverside is that we could send the link to this stream to anybody, and they could actually hop in. So that actually be a pretty cool way to engage with followers too. You know what I mean?
Dude, that sounds awesome. Yeah,
I
we could
know
totally throw people in.
Riverside's great. Let me just text Dennis, and then we'll start.
Sweet.
Uh, dude, this is gonna be a wild one tonight, Brian.
I'm down.
Okay, bro.
I'm trying to figure out what was the Samshadeen Shapur guy.
Ooh, the guy that got the email.
No, the dude that ran the truck with the Islamic flag.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
What day did he did it in the same day, right? Didn't they do it the same day, both of them?
Oh, yeah, I've got the timeline.
Yeah.
That was
Good. Okay, I
important.
want you to bring up yeah, bring up the timeline so that way we can like you'll have to lay that out.
Okay. Well, hey, let's start. We got a few people in here. We're going to be discussing
Mhm.
the Cybertruck attack
Mhm.
outside of the Trump Tower and also the Bourbon Street attack in New Orleans, both on New Year's Day, so January
Each day.
1st.
Yeah.
And just for reference, Brian, hey, the Bourbon Street attack happened at 3:15 a.m. on the 1st.
Mhm.
And then the Cybertruck explosion outside Trump Tower was January 1st at like 8:45 a.m. So within 5
Mm.
hours of each other. But Bourbon Street was first, then
Yeah, that's
Cybertruck attack.
okay.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
and the reason that's important is because everybody's trying to make a connection between the two. You
Mhm.
know, they're trying to say like, or at least in the beginning, before more of this stuff started coming out, people were connecting the two because what the heck are the odds that there's
Mm.
two cars that either plow through a street full of people or blow up within 5 hours of each other? You know what I mean?
Oh, and they were both rented on the Toro app,
Both rented
supposedly.
on Toro, then both people are identified within like a day, you know,
Yeah.
both people from Fort Bragg with military experience. So there was just a lot of coincidences for it not to be connected, you
Yeah,
know?
it's comical. The amount of coincidences is like beyond ridiculous.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear what you freaking think because I bet you we're like on totally different, we have totally different opinions on this thing.
There might be, but this is great. So it's fun to talk about this stuff.
I totally
Um,
agree.
so the very fascinating thing, the fact that they are both from Fort Bragg's, like, that's fascinating in and of itself.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, who also was from Fort Bragg's or had many visits to Fort Bragg's was the shooter, the Trump shooter guy that they caught.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Wait, which
yeah.
one? Which of them?
The
Right?
the
Because
what the
there's.
second one, the guy that was like totally like who got caught with the manifesto that was like
Oh,
ridiculous manifesto.
yeah.
Yeah, that guy. I forget his name. Trump shooter's name. I gotta bring him up. Okay,
The,
Trump.
the guy that was in Ukraine.
Yes,
Okay,
that guy.
that weirdo.
The weird guy. Yeah, the weird guy. So, what was his name? Not Thomas Matthew Crooks, the other guy.
Weirdo.
Um, Gosh, why is his name Muhammad? Of course, you can't Google this stuff. Trump shooters.
Oh, great. There we go. We're on the list. Thanks,
Did we
Brian.
say something? What did I say?
Trump shooter.
Oh no,
I'm just kidding.
not supposed to say that.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Yeah. So the other guy, anyways, he's definitely went to Fort Bragg's multiple times, something like 140 something times.
Wow.
They counted him for going and visiting there in that area. So clearly there is something going on with Fort Bragg's. Okay. Just to clarify, like multiple people that are involved in CIA operations visit Fort Bragg's. Now, I happen to know some people that were involved in the military that were, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but
this is
they
America.
yeah, I know. Okay, they were involved in some shady stuff and they worked for the military, and the military hired these individuals, we'll say, that did shady things for the military. Okay, and they eventually had to go on psych leave or something like that, and they got, because of the amount of stress that they were having these people go through, this person particularly, and he had to go, like, he like just disappeared out of my life. He like gave me a bunch of money and disappeared and said I have to disappear. Like, it was pretty weird, honestly.
Jeez.
And so he was involved in some really interesting military related stuff. Dude, they did experiments on these people. Like, they have done the military intentionally utilizes people for their purposes, and they blackmail you. So the person that I know actually like shot a child in Afghanistan, had a mental breakdown, and then he left. He took off and went AWOL.
Dang.
They caught him and they brought him back and said, hey, look, you went AWOL. You have two options. You either do what we say or you go to prison. Like, and so he was like, okay, I'll do whatever. I don't want to go to prison. And they had him doing some questionable stuff.
Wow.
And so because of his condition, the situation that he was in. So they do this kind of thing to a lot of people. So the military is full of secret ops individuals, covert ops people that are being blackmailed into certain situations they don't want to be involved in. And they're hired to do a bunch of dark stuff. Okay. This is very real. This ain't a joke. Like, I know somebody that's gone through this. I know actually two somebodies. I know two people that have, and potentially more through friends, but but I know these situations are real, and it's very disturbing. And there's a lot of really dark, weird stuff. Also, side note, I was raided by the FBI.
What?
Yeah, I was raided by the FBI.
I gotta go.
Yeah, no, I was raided by the FBI. I've been visited by the FBI a second time for a second occasion, but I was actually involved in development of a plastic type of AR-15 gun thing at one point, and in California, and I created some stuff for a dude and helped a guy invent this product. I ended up getting raided as a result. It wasn't 3D printed; these are real guns.
Wow.
So I got involved in the raid, but they ended up running a gun store, and I helped with a lot of this stuff. And there were people that would come in that were like military people that were working for the government, and because they knew that we had they had special like shops and stuff at the gun store, bro. Like, there was people that came in that were like, hey, I can get any gun I want. And they had like these special licenses and stuff that they could buy any gun through of any kind. Didn't matter. It had no regulation, nothing. And they could buy them through the gun store that I was working with.
Wow.
And dude, it's like a whole nother world, guys. People don't know how real the stuff goes on. Like they try to make like James Bond movies and all this stuff seem like it's like, oh, that's not really happening, or maybe it's really capturing the bad guys. No, that stuff is really happening,
Right.
except not in the way you think. America is the bad guys, y'all.
Yeah.
You, our own government, are not only the people fighting the bad guys, they are the bad guys. Okay. And then this needs to be very made clear. Like, there's people that are like the police, and when they dig so deep into finding out what's really going on, it always almost inevitably leads back to the FBI and the CIA.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are the bad guys
Yeah.
with all the cool gadgets.
I'm starting to believe that too. You know, most of listen, it's not that there's bad guys and good guys, it's that everybody's bad.
Yeah.
You know what
pretty
I mean?
much.
And
Yeah,
the
pretty
thing
much.
is, because like, bro, China's bad, Russia's bad, everyone in the Middle East is bad. Like everybody's bad, right? Or Mexico's bad, Africa's bad. Like literally, everyone's bad, bro. So the thing is, it's just a matter of like which is the lesser of all the evils. And to be honest, I used to believe America was, but now I just think we're on par with all the rest of the evil. It's just that we're like the best at it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have the biggest toys, we have the biggest budgets, and I mean, post World War II, we basically ruled the world or ruled, you know, that's kind of falling apart right now. And I think the curtain's kind of being pulled back a little bit right now, and the wrongdoings of America are kind of getting like more and more exposed. You know what I mean? And it's only a matter of time until, and I also think that's strategic because the less patriotism there is, the less nationalism there is in America, the easier it'll be for America to fall from like within. We don't need to get conquered. Who the heck conquers anymore? All you need to do is like have internal strife and then economic strife, and you're screwed. You're literally screwed. So what's interesting with this guy, what was his name? His name was like Matt
Lindenberg or something, or Livelsberg.
Okay, so what's interesting with this guy Matt, that blew up the Cybertruck outside of Trump Tower, what really stuck out to me, at first I thought that it was connected in some way with the attack in New Orleans, because again, what the heck are the odds that these two attacks go down within 5 hours of each other, right? Pretty like normal conclusion, right? Nothing crazy. Plus, there's also a lot of woke people in the military now, you know? So it's not like far-fetched to think that one of them got sympathetic to terrorism or was radicalized or whatever, you know what I mean? And what stuck out to me in that email, which we'll play, or which we'll read.
We'll bring up here in a second.
Yeah, we'll bring it up. What stuck out to me was the fact that he brings up a connection to China with the drones, right? And that basically what that would imply is, if you remember when the drones on the East Coast were all over the place, I don't know if they're still there or not, but the FBI came out, the local police came out, Biden came out, congressmen came out, and everybody was like, nothing to see here. Everything's fine. There's no danger. We don't know what's going on, but everything's good. Trust us. Everything's good. And this guy makes the claim, if you want to believe him or not, we'll get there, that, hey, this is freaking China using like advanced technology that's not publicly available. Okay. And what they're doing is they're showing force right now to our military and to our powers that be, basically saying, hey, we could do anything we want with impunity, and you guys can't do anything about it. Because what are you going to scramble your jets? We could fly faster than your jets with these drones and deliver payloads that in the email at all, or was it in the email or just in Sean Ryan's discussion where it says basically with any size payload?
I think he said it in the email.
Okay. So when he said that, when he brought up the fact that this is like China at work, I'm like, dude, hold on a second. This wasn't just some like woke radicalized dork from the military. This guy's like actually trying to blow the whistle on the fact that we're basically already in World War III. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems like it, at least, for sure.
That's what it seems like. But
Mhm.
then we got a chatting on Instagram, and you seem to have a different opinion. You
I
know?
do. I do have a different opinion. And I think we have to, I don't know if we should play it first or what, but like I think it does seem like right now, guys, based on the circumstances, it seems like there is an Al-Qaeda attacker who drove a truck which he rented on Toro and then strapped a flag, an Al-Qaeda flag to it, and then drove it through a group of people. Okay, he just
Yeah.
drove the truck and just murdered a bunch of people, pulled out guns, and then they killed him. So we don't have any answers.
But don't forget, the FBI DEI hire with the nose ring came out and said that it was not terrorism. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah. Because they said it was it was not a terrorist attack,
Dude.
guys. Because I think it was because of the color of his skin, so it couldn't be deemed a terrorist attack, actually, or something.
The gaslighting
Yeah,
is unreal. Unreal.
But in a way, they might be right. It might not be necessarily a terrorist attack from, Muslim people. It actually might be a terrorist attack from your own government. And just a heads up, this is where we might differ in our opinions. But I'm going to tell you right now, MK Ultra programming is so real, and it is happening at Fort Bragg's. It is very apparent that it's happening at Fort Bragg's. Multiple people with fishy stories keep coming out and keep having associations with Fort Bragg's. What does that tell you? That tells you there is something going on there that's not quite right. Now, for those that don't know about the Matt Livensberg, his wife left him right on Christmas, I guess. I believe it was a Christmas that his wife, they separated. And the guy went through some major PTSD, supposedly, circumstances that his wife left him before he blew this up. And mind you, he blew this up in a rented Toro, from the Toro app, rented Cybertruck. Yeah. So he rented a Cybertruck and then wired it up and then blew it up. Okay, you gotta, there's a lot going on to this that is so suspicious. The other guy rented a truck, then drove it, and then attached a flag to it, and then what's the point of renting a truck? Why not just use your own vehicle? Why would you go anywhere without your own vehicle? Guys, there's something that's not quite right. And this guy was so paranoid. Why would he rent a truck? Why would he just drive his own car? And then why would he, and how would he know to rig it to that truck? Mind you, they rigged it with explosives and fireworks. Bro, that is not a normal explosion. It was fireworks in there. The explosion was actually not done by fireworks, by the way. So just a heads up.
The original.
The first explosion, they added fireworks and other stuff to it. But I'm going to tell you right now, the way that truck blew up, that was like a C4 looking detonation type of explosive. There was some kind of, tenamite, I forget. And the name for it, tenamite, is what it is.
Something like that.
Yeah. And so that is what that explosion looks like. It's not just, there's fireworks mixed into it, which is why would they put fireworks unless they're trying intentionally to make it look like this guy that didn't know what he was doing, make it a homemade bomb and didn't have access to C4. Okay. That's to me what it looks like. Cause there's no point in putting sparklers and why would you put sparklers in there? This is just, that's absurd. That is very absurd. Clearly there was something else going on with that.
Yeah.
So should we just play the clip?
Play the email.
All right, let's play the email, guys, and then we'll break it down. I might pause it as we're playing it.
Good.
If I have things that I'm like, okay, I can't take it. I have to say something. Okay, ready? Let's go. Do we got audio here? Let me see.
Play.
Audio?
Not yet.
Okay, let me try it
Try
again. Let me just double check. Window. Boom. To share audio, tab on screen, entire screen. Let's try entire screen. We'll just do this. There we go. All right, here we go.
There's so much going on, bro.
I know this is crazy, and it's very important you guys pay attention to what's going on right now, because I don't want everybody to be fooled into the lie that the government is trying to sell you right now. The government is trying to sell you on something right now, and it's very apparent in this email, and we'll just go through it.
So this email came in on December 31st
It's really
at
choppy.
10:42 a.m.
There it goes.
My decision
that?
point, we're on to the
It's
Tuesday.
kind of choppy, but it's all good.
Okay. In case I do not make it to my decision point or on the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this info until the 1st of January, 1 January, and keep my identity private until then. Okay. Why is this man writing this letter to this random dude that I've never seen before? He's not famous. He's nothing, whatever. And immediately he shows up on the Sean Ryan show. Like, how did this guy get access? And it's funny because even him, he's like, yeah, I happen to know somebody that knew Sean Ryan to get on the show and blah, 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 blah. And this manifesto has been given to this random dude, okay, that is involved in some other stuff, okay, that we don't know this guy. He's a nobody, the dude that's reading this manifesto. And so he just knew somebody that got on the Sean Ryan show. Unless you know, have you heard of this guy? Do you know who this guy is anywhere?
I don't know who he is, but I think within like military circles, he is known because he's somebody that kind of military folk use him as a channel to release information that like they're not allowed to release, you know?
Got it.
So he's kind of like a confidential source.
Okay. Well, check this out. Okay. Until then. So he's like, don't release it until the January 1st. This is my secret dying wish that I'm going to tell you. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. Right off the bat, you got to be a moron. Okay. Why would you be having to say it like this? Okay. Right now I'm questioning you. Okay. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V8 for verification. What does that even mean? Do you understand that, bro? Can you break that understanding for me?
I think he's trying to say, hey, nobody's forcing me to do this. Nobody's got a gun to my head. And to verify the information so you know it's really me, here's some information from my past that nobody else would know except for me. Right. That's kind of my logic here.
That's his logic under that.
Or okay, how I understand it.
That sort of kind of, I guess, could make some sense there. Okay. What we have been seeing with the drones, now we goes to the drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered by aircrafts by most recent China in the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we and China have this capability. Our OPCEN location for this activity in the box is below. Okay. What is the OPSEN Operations Center location for the activity is in the box below? What box below? What's he talking about? Is that something in the...
I think there might have been an attachment. I think there might have been an attachment because online I have seen a overhead, almost like a drone image of a building, and the point was somewhere in Nevada.
Got it. Of course. And so this is the OPSEN, the Operations Center location for the activity, whatever. Okay, so here's the deal. Okay, he uses this word, gravitic propulsion system. Let me explain something to you. Like, the government wants you to believe in fairy tales. The government likes you believing in... They want you to think, okay, this guy, it's aliens, guys. It's a gravitic propulsion system. That's not a word, guys. Notice how it's still red. It's not a thing. Okay, gravitic propulsion. He's saying anti-gravity propulsion system is what he's meaning by this word, gravitic propulsion system. Okay.
Yeah.
And so he's in his dying thing is like telling you guys the gravitic propulsion system, which, by the way, dying thing, supposedly they did a DNA analysis on the guy, and they determined that it wasn't actually the same genetic makeup as his son,
right,
or his child. So I don't know if it's son or daughter, but the person in the seat wasn't actually genetically him, potentially. And the body was burned so bad that they couldn't identify it. Yet somehow they magically found the passports to this man. Doesn't that sound, what's that sound like to you, Ben?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe like 4 passports that were found on 9/11 that magically survived.
And
Like-
and a whole building collapsing.
Plane crash, collapsing buildings, like the whole shebang, rocket fuel melting steel.
Yeah.
I get it. That one's a silly one. But let me play some devil's advocate here.
Yeah. Go
okay?
for it.
So when he says
Mhm.
that the drones are using like anti-gravitic propulsion systems, I think people automatically associate it with alien stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that doesn't necessarily have to have, like, you don't need to connect advanced, undisclosed military technology to aliens. Those two things might exist at the same time.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So he's making the claim that, hey, the stuff that was being seen on the East Coast was not alien. It was Chinese advanced technology, which only our two nations have. You know what I'm saying? If people connect the dots to alien stuff, that's on them. He's not connecting that dot in my opinion. And
Totally agree.
and the other thing was, let me see. Actually, go on. Let's go to the
Okay,
the next one.
so the other thing I was going to say too about this is that even though they don't connect the two, what does connect the two is all the conspiratorial people like us.
For sure.
And this is a message to you. This is a message to anybody that believes in conspiracies.
Me?
This is a message to be afraid and to be focusing on aliens. Okay? You should be focusing on China and you should be focusing on aliens from this message. This is a message of fear. Okay? It's designed to instill the concept of fear because they know all of the conspiracy people right now are rising up. All the people that study conspiracy are pulling back and going, whoa, wait a second. Has our government been the bad guys the whole time? All the conspiracy people are starting to realize who the real bad guys are. It's like, that's what's happening right now. So what do? They send out the troops. The troops are literally, stop freaking out about all these other things and send in the terrorists. Send them in. And put an Al-Qaeda flag. Remember, guys, ISIS is the bad guy, not that other country with the little star that everybody knows is satanic. Not that country. They're not the bad guys. ISIS is the bad guy, guys. Remember. But you know what's funny? It's not working. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to even care. They're like, oh yeah, ISIS, right? I think most people at this point know that it's not ISIS. They know that it has nothing to do with ISIS at this point. Right. It has to do with our government. And that's the thing. So they're like, okay, ISIS thing isn't going to work. We're going to throw the book at them. Okay. Aliens. It's aliens. And it's China. It's China and ISIS and aliens. It could be any one of the bad guys, guys. Grab onto anything. But the truth is that the United States government is the bad guys. That's what's going on. And the other country that's best friends with the United States government that I can't even say. Because if I said it, the channel's going to get taken down. I
do have a guy coming on Monday, and we're going to talk about the Talmud and all the beliefs that arise out of that. So
that's great.
I guess I will have to be very cautious how we talk about it, because you're right, we will get in trouble. Okay, so what are you saying? Are you saying that the Bourbon Street attack and that the explosion outside of Trump Tower with the Cybertruck, are you saying those are both just fear tactics?
Yes, completely.
To distract, or what? For what?
To distract you and dude, our government, Trump came out and said, we know what the drones are. They're not wanting to say what they are, but we know what they are. Their movements aren't so fast, beyond people are like, oh, they move unregularly. No, they don't. They're actually moving. They're moving incredibly fast, but not to the point that we've seen certain types of spacecraft or alien spacecraft that you've seen. Okay. They're not moving to the point where they're just like, they're not doing that stuff. They are really fast though, but it's not beyond a point of speed that we couldn't achieve with the stuff that we have. So they are very fast drones. And if Trump come out and said, they know what the drones are, it's not a big deal. Are you kidding me? You think we're just going to be like, oh, China's letting drone, bro, they let the spy balloon go and it was a big deal. The Chinese spy balloon.
Right.
Okay, dude, this isn't China. This is the United States government that runs these drones. The United States government owns the drones. The United States government is launching the drones. They would be freaking out if it was China right now. It has nothing to do with China. China is not the enemy. They have zero interest in the United States in freaking them out or attacking the people. That is a fear-mongering tactic that they've been feeding you guys for a while to try to get people to be like, China's it wants to murder us. It's TikTok. TikTok's the enemy. It's China attacking us. Bro, it ain't. TikTok is not the problem from China. You want to know what the problem on TikTok was? The viral nature of humanity. That was the problem of TikTok. And it's very apparent if you look into it. That's why, guess who's buying TikTok right now? Oh, it's those people with the little star flag. Yeah, those people. They're the ones buying TikTok. And if you look into it, it tells you very clearly they taught one of their head department people were like, we have a TikTok problem because more people are becoming anti-Semitic. So we need to stop TikTok. It was very clear because what the TikTok algorithm, it was, just to clarify, if you watched a video and you shared it, the faster you watch it, the longer you watch it, the more times you watched it, and the faster you shared it would regulate what things would go higher in the search engine. Okay, so TikTok didn't have a filtering system to disable certain types of content from exploding and going viral. And so what happened was a bunch of people were putting things out that it was exposing things in the government, and it was naturally blowing up and going viral. And it was going viral and viral. And then all of a sudden there was a bunch of things about those people with the blue and white flag with their little star. And then all the things over in Palestine that were blowing up and going viral on TikTok. And it was creating a problem to the point where they said 15 minutes of TikTok time was equated to becoming 17% more anti-Semitic for every, no. And there's literally a study on this.
They quantified it?
Yeah, they quantified it. I'm not even joking. I think they said, no, it was every 30 minutes made you 13% more anti-Semitic on TikTok. That was literally a statement put out.
Wow.
Isn't that fascinating and a little bit alarming?
Okay. So it's all just a distraction from the fact that America is trying to do what?
America and the little star people are the ones that are causing all the problems here.
We called them star children.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay.
The Star Children.
Code name.
The Star Children. But not the alien Star Children. The different kind of Star Children. The ones
yeah,
flag.
Totally. Well, our people right now know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, but then why do like 2 attacks? Why do the Bourbon Street one? Why do the Trump Tower one? Why wouldn't one suffice and then another one later? Do you think that these 2 events are related?
Oh, okay. So like not only did they do a Trump attack, okay, on the Trump Tower, but they drove a Tesla. So they were trying to make it look like it was a political thing. Guys, it was a political attack. Oh, it's okay, the political attack didn't hit him good enough, guys. The angle of it being an attack on Trump and Elon Musk wasn't strong enough. Okay, let's put out an email so it could be, oh, it's China, actually. It's China. It's a political attack. It's China. Oh, it's drones. It could be aliens. Like it's everything. It's ISIS. Okay, it's all of it. It doesn't matter what the agenda is. The agenda they want to sell you is fear. They want to sell you fear, and they want to sell you that you're under attack. People don't want wars, guys. I have a friend that lives over in Ukraine. They don't want wars. They don't want it. They have nothing to do with it. They're uninterested in it. They don't care about the stuff going on. You know who wants wars? People in control. People in power want wars.
For sure.
Individuals do not want wars. Nobody wants war. No one.
Yeah, because we're the ones that get sent out to the slaughter. It's not the elites that are making the decisions. It's not their children. Okay,
China doesn't want a war. Just so you guys know, China doesn't want a war. China has several times asked to sign peace treaties with people. Several times we've tried to work with China, and they have given us offers in all kinds of situations. And the American government turns it down in situations where they're trying to involve fair trade alliances, all kinds of stuff. And they turn it down, and they turn it down, and then they set up other systems where there's total manipulation going on, and rich people are profiting. Certain small groups of rich people are profiting off of the trade alliances that we have in every country right now. Certain small, rich groups of rich people profit off of the circumstances that are going down right now.
Okay, so you're saying that both the Bourbon Street attack and the Trump Tower explosion were related, and it's the U.S. government or military or CIA or FBI or all of them, or some other organization, they perpetrated both of them.
Yep.
Okay.
through MK Ultra programming that was being done at Fort Bragg's. And Fort Bragg's is a hot spot for MK Ultra stuff. And like, you got to understand, like the sleeper cell concept is very, very real, but it's not like you think they make it portrayed in the movies. It's not like you say one word and then they're like, programming,
Right.
activate. Like these people are in a state of delusion and delirium. And they're like kind of in a dazed state when they're in this, that they're in a hypnotic state. See somebody under hypnosis. Okay. That's what's happening. And it's possible that this dude that sent this email and who this character is isn't even the person that's involved in this whole situation, because again, the DNA supposedly didn't match, but they supposedly found the passports. But this guy is a very clear. Maybe we should play that video. Actually, we don't even need to read the rest of the letter. Honestly,
No, let's read it. Let's read it. Let's read it.
Should we go? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So China is launching Atlantic submarine. Okay. Let's go back to we'll go to the email. Okay. China has been launching.
Screen share it real quick.
Okay. Yeah. Are you a better reader than I am? Because I am a terrible reader.
No, bro.
Oh, you're not? Oh my gosh. You're going to make me read?
English is my second language. So.
What?
Yeah, bro.
Would have never guessed.
But I can't read in that other language. So.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Well, China. Okay. We're going to start here. China has been launching them. Wait, is it?
Yeah, you're good.
Backing up. He said
China's been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. Oh no. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon from the Signet and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of balloons in the air at any given time. Okay, just so you guys know, do you remember the spy balloon?
Yes.
Okay, the spy balloon, all it was a satellite. And I don't even know if it was a Chinese spy balloon, because apparently it's pretty apparent. Like when you look at crashed satellites, have you seen a crashed satellite? In fact, let's look this up. Okay, let's see. Crashed satellite. I don't know how many people are aware of this, but when you look at crashed satellites, did you know that there's a red line? See this red image right here? This little red line coming off the top of this one?
Yeah.
What's that red line attached to, you think?
What is that red line attached to?
Why
does
are
it have
these
that
satellites
red line in multiple photos?
Oh yeah, they sure do. In fact, almost all of them do. Now watch this. Oh, crashed satellite balloon. Suddenly you realize that crashed satellites all have balloons attached to them. All of them. Look, that's a balloon right there, bro.
Where?
Oh yeah, they
Make it
sure
bigger.
do. How do I make it bigger? Let me see if it will let me make it bigger.
Breaking on Venice the Menace. All satellites have balloons attached.
That's as big as it's going to let me make it.
Okay.
That's a crashed satellite right there, bro.
But
there's
that's a crashed satellite with a balloon.
Okay, so like, just look. I mean, like, we'll go through here.
But take out the word balloon out of
Bro,
your
that's
Google
a
search.
satellite, period. That's how all... You won't see them. They hide the balloon, but it's the same. See the red line? The red line's attached to a balloon. Look, notice that every image is CGI when you type in crash satellite, unless you add the word balloon. Look, another one. See the balloon? There's a balloon line from here. Every crash satellite. Look, crash satellite. Look, right here.
Are you saying that?
Boom. I just typed in crash satellite.
Are you saying that all of the
every
satellites
image
have balloons attached to them? There aren't any just in space, like in orbit?
Bro, are you looking at the pictures, or am I like disillusioned? Like, look, they're all CGI, are they not? And every crashed one has a balloon attached to it. Look, do you see? Look, again, see the tethered line? See the tethered line coming off of it? Yes, that's a satellite, bro.
Okay.
Did I just break your world a little bit? I'm sorry.
Not
this is a tethered. They all have
really.
balloons. This is a crashed satellite, and this is there's a tethered line on this one too, but I think they separated it.
Okay. Go on.
Notice that. Okay. So if you type in crashed satellite,
I hope people are doing this at home.
if you type in balloon, I don't know if you guys know this, but how do you think satellites say what?
I said, I hope people are doing this at home.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but look, this is your Chinese spy balloon, bro. Yeah. This is your Chinese spy balloon right here, guys. This is the Chinese spy balloon. It's a freaking satellite. That's all it was. It wasn't a Chinese spy balloon. It was a low orbit satellite. That's all it was. Okay. That was probably a Google satellite that they shot down. Okay. It literally says on them space something or other on a lot of these satellites.
Do you think that all of the, and this was a good question, I was thinking this too, but it's in the comments. Do you think all the Starlink satellites are connected to balloons? Do you think all the Starlink satellites are
oh, dude, look at all these ones. Look at all these crash satellites. Look at this. Balloon, tethered, balloon. Do you not see the balloon madness?
But these might be a particular type of satellite that are. These might be a particular. And there's an echo. I'm not sure. Do you hear it?
Oh, no, I don't. Is it?
It might just be me. These might be a particular kind of satellite that is like in our atmosphere. But like I said, in the comments, somebody asked, and I was thinking the same thing. What about all the Starlink satellites? Do you think those are attached to balloons?
Satellites. I think those are drones potentially that went up. And I don't know because if they're not attached to balloons, I don't know how they would work. All satellites are attached to balloons.
That's quite the claim.
Look,
I'm not sold on it yet.
Okay. Got it. Ready? Watch. Type in satellite launch. Look at this. This is how a satellite is launched. Do you see this image? This is how they launch a satellite. Okay. This is how you launch a satellite.
But I've seen
this is how satellites are launched.
I've seen SpaceX launching satellites.
And they told you.
Hey, here in Idaho, I've seen Starlink satellites in space, like a huge line of satellites floating.
Yes, I've seen that. I've seen that too.
So you think those?
I've seen that as well. Those are not balloons. Those are drones.
Those are pretty freaking far away drones with some really powerful lights.
They are, exactly. So if you type in satellite launch, all of the images are going to be fake CGI. This is not a satellite launch. These are rockets launching. Okay. None of these images are how satellites are launched. Look, it's all just fake CGI nonsense.
I mean, there's a lot of real ones. I've seen.
If you type in satellite launch,
SpaceX launch.
So have I. I watched it. This is how satellites are launched, bro. Look, this is how they're all launched. Balloons. Do you? Let me just ask you a question.
Yeah.
Ready? Let's go to Google and type in.
Oh,
who is the largest?
Hold on. Let me pee on your parade real quick.
Our
friend does
for rockets.
Our friend does astrophotography. Mondo Gonzalez, who I was mentioning before, and he said that satellites get in the way of his images all the time through his telescope. I don't know why there's such a bad echo.
So I don't know why there's such a bad echo. It could be the screen sharing. We'll stop it.
Okay.
So NASA is the largest consumer of helium. It's the largest user of helium. Now, supposedly they use that much helium for all their rockets that they launch. Okay. Mm-hmm. And your satellites get in the way. Satellites could be, they're tethered to balloons from really large distances, by the way. They're not just like, boom. And then the satellite that you see, if you can zoom in on him, the balloons themselves, sometimes they have lights in the balloon. So you think it's a satellite, but it's actually just the balloon that's glowing from the light. So the balloon itself. Have you looked
up if there's different kinds of satellites? Like if there's a particular kind of satellite that is dangled from a balloon temporarily for whatever reason? Yeah. Maybe it's like to gather data over a specific area, all that kind of stuff. Because it'd be a pretty bold claim to say like all of these satellite engineers and mechanical engineers, all of these guys, they're all just like full of BS. And they're all in on.
Well, they don't know they don't know what they're doing. In fact, I had a friend that worked for a satellite company, and he was like, I don't even know. He helped make some of the stuff for him, and he was like, well, I don't know how they launch them. Like, so he worked for a satellite company, and then he's like, I know that some of them they launched. He wasn't even told how they were launched. He heard that they were launched like through balloons. So, but he wasn't even told, and he knew that he thought some of them were launched, and he was helping work on some parts of the internal like operating system or something. And so like there is multiple different types of satellites. There's multiple different types of satellites, but the majority of them are launched with balloons that I know of. There's the Starlink ones were not balloons. Starlink
I don't think
ones,
those are
whatever
balloons.
those were not balloons. Those were drones that were launched out. Okay. And they were like just like drones. And I don't know if they just floated up into the upper orbit and then like, you know, took off or what, or if they just came down somewhere else and they just did it for show to make you think that that was, you know,
But I have
satellites are real.
Starlink. It works.
Yeah, but Starlink doesn't have to work through the processes that you think. Do you understand? Like, it doesn't mean that just because you have Starlink doesn't mean it wouldn't have worked in the current system that we have already set up. Do you see what I'm saying?
But I didn't have service, and now I do have service.
Well, I know, but you have Starlink. But it wasn't like the Starlink system, like the way it's designed, doesn't have to shoot up to some invisible satellite. It could just be pawning off of the satellites that are already out there.
Okay.
It could just be going off of the same system.
Conclusion with this.
Okay, so my point is like that satellite that they told you was China was not China. It is a normal satellite, but they wanted to make you live in fear. And they didn't just shoot down one; they shot down like 3, or was it, or something? They think they're like, oh, there's 3 low orbiting spy balloons, guys. It's a spy balloon. No, don't think it's a satellite because our satellites are launched by balloons. How many of you right now in the chat? How many of you did not know that balloons are how most satellites are carried?
It's going to take a second for people to
It's going to take a second, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm betting it's like over 90% of you had no clue that satellites were launched with balloons and that they float in the atmosphere with balloons. That's how they stay up. Some of the balloons stay up there. Like that's, and when you see crashed satellites, they always have a balloon attached to them. So that's a pretty shocking thought.
Well, okay. Again, devil's advocate, right?
Yeah,
also not sold. So the ones in space are probably really unlikely to like crash back down to Earth. I totally agree with you that there are satellites attached to balloons. I think this is like a pretty known fact. I don't know the percentage of them. I don't know what they're used for. They might just be used for like territorial information gathering or like temporary use, you know? And those I can totally imagine literally crashing back down to Earth all the time because the helium's going to run out or the balloon's going to pop. It has a limited lifespan, right? So when you type in crash satellite, the ones crashing are the ones on balloons because that's what they're intended to do. They don't have a way to like glide back down to safety and recover the satellite.
They're okay with them just falling down? And what if they fall down and kill somebody?
I'm pretty sure that they have like a trajectory and like stuff's kind of planned out. Or maybe if it's like going over a dangerous area, they could like get some kind of plane to go out there and hook it, you know what I mean? And then drop it once it's over. So I'm just saying there could be a reason why the crash satellites are attached to balloons versus the ones in space. The ones in space are probably not going to be pulled into Earth's orbit. Like they're launched at a certain distance away from Earth, right? Where they're never going to come back down unless something hits them and then it like ricochets it back down into Earth. So that's my my rationale as to why you're only seeing crashed ones that are attached to balloons.
There are some balloons, they say that once they reach a certain orbit that they break away from the balloon and that they just float up into the upper atmosphere. That's some of the theories of how they function.
Yeah. I mean, I don't doubt it. I'm just saying there might be reasons why we only see, or you're only seeing crashed ones that were attached to balloons at some point, you know? Okay. So you're even with that, even with the spy balloon, something that gets me is why the heck doesn't China ever come out and is like, Xi Jinping isn't like, he's no ass, you know, like they're never denying it. They're not denying that those are their drones. They're not denying that those are their spy balloons. That never happens.
What makes you think that they're even getting that news?
TikTok.
What makes you think they believe it?
Bro, TikTok.
Well, yeah, well, that's now controlled by our government because just so you know, like part of the TikTok ban, it was to release the control of TikTok was being released to the content management system of Oracle, who's owned by Larry, whatever his name is.
Think.
I forget his name. Larry Fink, yeah. And Larry Fink worked for the CIA, worked for the government, developed Oracle. He's now monitoring the content. He set up the system to monitor TikTok. The reason why TikTok isn't banned right now is literally because the government, the United States government, got involved and started monitoring. And guess what? Guess what stopped going viral? My content stopped going viral on TikTok when Oracle took over, and they also took down a bunch of my videos.
Bro, are you saying that
Mm-hmm.
China loves demon erasers and America hates you?
You know, well, that's if you believe that TikTok is China. That's the thing. TikTok was just built by a Singaporean guy, not even Chinese. He built it for China, but originally, in which it was called a different app entirely. Then he reformatted the app entirely for the American market. And it's totally a different thing. It was not, it was just funded by Chinese investors. They're not over there like, bro, they're trying to make money, dude. They're not over here like trying to figure out how must we take down America and like destroy them and like we must rule the world and become the superpower. Like they don't care, dude. Like they're trying to like manage their own environment, their own economy, their own system that's also borderline collapsing in ways because of things that they've done there. Okay, they're managing their own thing. They're not sitting here trying to figure out how to take out America and spy on Americans. What are they going to do? Steal your identity and then buy you things off of Alibaba and ship them to your your own house? Like, what do you think? Like, what do you have any interest in your false identity? They're not interested in your identity. They're not going to.
I kind of believe you that China's not necessarily like that big of a threat. I do think that they do occasionally dabble in some shenanigans. Okay. The same way, like, bro, North Korea is not a threat, right? Everybody in that country is like starving and dying. And what's the dude's lead? Kim Jong-un. He just fires like rockets for fun, right? He could do some damage to South Korea, but there's definitely not a chance that a rocket from North Korea would ever fly across the face of the freaking planet halfway around the world to strike America. We'd shoot that thing down like instantly with anti-missile technology. Like we've got all sorts of stuff to counter this thing. People don't realize, and here's why I'm kind of agreeing with you, okay? People don't realize that when they talk about, oh, World War III, oh, they're going to launch nukes and Russia's nuclear and China's nuclear and all this thing about nuclear. Do you understand how antiquated nuclear technology is? Like, the missiles are not the way that the world's going to end. We have technology that's been advancing for freaking 50, 60 years beyond nuclear. You know what I'm saying? We have satellites that aren't attached to balloons that are in space that can freaking fire laser beams and take out missiles. We have these things. Like this is you can look these things up, right?
Yeah.
Bro, look at the Star Children, the Nation of the Star Children. They have the Iron Dome. It's been there for like 20 years or 15 years. How old is that system?
I would doubt that the Iron Dome works properly as we think it does. But I get what you mean. That's a whole nother thing.
So they have a supposed system that can like shoot down missiles as they come in. You're telling me America doesn't? You think we just ship that off and we fund it and supply it with all the munitions they need, but we don't have anything to protect ourselves? And you're telling me that freaking China just like sneaks in balloons, or you know what I mean? Like, it reminds me of Up when the like guy flies away like on a bunch of balloons. You know, you're telling me Xi Jinping's like stuck to a chair flying over America with impunity, or like they could just get ships and submarines into our waters and launch drones, and like America's never going to do anything about it,
or not know.
Or not know, like, oh no, how did they do that? We didn't see that one. Like, I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second. I think if America allows it, it's intentional. Yes. And it may very, very well be that China is doing these things, right? But America's allowing it to happen so that America always, always, always has some kind of fear-mongering tactic, some
Mhm.
kind of enemy to be like, this is why we need big government. This is why we need big military.
That's
This
what's
is
going on.
why we need
You're right.
endless trillions of tax
Yep.
dollars. Your great grandchildren are going to be taxed to
Mhm.
oblivion because look at these enemies over here. Oh no, spy balloons and drones. We need more money, more money, more. You know what I'm saying? Bigger
Mhm.
government. That's how I see it. So I don't necessarily think that they're lying, that it's Chinese spy balloons, Chinese drones, but I do think that the government is allowing it to happen. You know, that's my
Okay.
perspective on it.
I'm close to right there with you.
Are we getting somewhere? Are we
We're
getting
getting
close to the
close to an
middle?
image here. We're getting close to the middle. So
Okay.
here's something I want to mention though. Okay. So have you seen about the images of the nukes being fake?
No. Give it to me.
Nuclear blast being fake. Okay, here we got to just bring this up. Okay, so this is the footage of the nuclear blast. And I don't know if you recall seeing this footage. You see it, and it looked like a little toy model.
Let me see.
Okay. Have you seen this footage of the blast exploding?
Oh, yeah.
I want you to point out that right here there is no car. And then the second frame when the house begins to explode, there is a car that is visible right here.
Yeah, I remember this one was pretty shocking.
There's a car. Yeah, so why? So like the idea that the nukes, and there's a man that survived. Now, how did the film survive? And where was this taken photos of? And look at the background. Like what? In the middle of nowhere, and they explode this, and supposedly this house explodes, and this is a nuclear blast. Okay. This is a toy model, bro. This is a toy model. It's very clearly a toy model. And in the cut scene, they didn't cut out the car in the toy model of the explosion. This is our original footage of the effects of the blast. Now, there's another little scene here. They've got these blast footage things that they try to make seem like very, very desolate and destruction. And so there's a guy that goes on Joe Rogan, and he literally talks about how the blast footage is completely fake, and that the scenes that they make for the blast footage is like entirely faked. And so just what I would say right now is type in Joe Rogan nuclear blasts are fake footage. Okay, the guy explains it really well. He explains it very well, and it's very compelling. He lays down some evidence, and you look at it, you can see the car that was there in the footage, and you see that it wasn't there a second before. It's very obvious
So
that nuclear blasts were.
You don't
Now,
think
there's a man.
any of the nuclear stuff's real?
There's a man. Yeah, there's a man in Japan who he survived Hiroshima
That sounds like
and
a
then
poem.
Nagasaki. So there's a man who. Yeah, like a poem
in Japan who survived in a
Yeah.
pan.
So and he lived all the way, man in Japan
Survived in a pan. His name is Lan.
2 nuclear
You too can.
bombs. And so here's what they said. They're like, well, what about Japan? What about this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, his name is Tsumoto. I can't say Smutu Yamaguchi. Tsutomu. Okay, Yamaguchi. He survived both nuclear blasts, has no nuclear radiation poisoning. Like, he's not dying from this. He's somehow totally healthy and fine until he died in 2010. Okay, the only person to have survived both atomic bombs of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He was in Hiroshima and then moved to Nagasaki after he got treated for the first blast, and they bombed that area. And he survived both of the blasts and was like not nuked. Okay, he wasn't nuked. He didn't throw his guts up like they told you.
He's like one of hundreds of thousands, because I think a ton of people did die, right?
Sure. But what they said was they were fire bombs. The nuclear bomb technology wasn't real. They were fire bombs, and there was multiple fire bombs dropped at once. And the multiple fire bombs dropped at once looked like a big, huge, massive explosion. And he
Yeah,
just
that's
happened to be in
true.
a space. What?
That's true. I mean, was there videos of Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs going off?
I don't know, but I don't recall, but the guy talks about on Joe Rogan
Mm,
exactly what the theory was behind it. And so if
mm,
you watch the Joe Rogan video, he knows more about it. I watched it and I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense. Like I didn't look into it enough to give you any more detailed answers, so I can't
yeah.
say per se, but I can tell you right now that everything's a show, guys. It's
I
a big
do
show.
believe that. I totally believe that. And again,
Mhm,
I'm just not worried
mhm.
about anything happening to America unless America allows it.
What you should be worried about is your government making rules and laws against you. That's what
Yeah.
you should be worried about. And that's the only thing you should be worried about. And that's it. Because the threat of nuclear bombs destroying everything, I don't think is
I don't
very
believe that.
tangible. And I don't think it's very real. It was a system of fear created to scare you.
Yeah.
Okay. Supposedly they created a bomb that's even bigger than the original nuke. Now, oh, it's so much bigger and more powerful, yet they've never launched it and tested it. And who knows? You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
how are you gonna even know? But the reality is, like, they may eventually throw bombs on us, but like, pray to the Lord. And if you're seeking the Lord, he'll tell you and give you a dream to get out of there. I believe, just like he tells the animals before an area gets destroyed, the animals all kind of flee an area when there's like a nuclear, when something natural disaster is coming.
Yeah.
I think people will know enough to be like, hey, I need to get out of this space.
Yeah, I do. I mean,
Mm-mm,
I like I said, I'm not worried, right? I
mm-hmm.
don't think China would actually go to like a kinetic war with America.
China
I don't
uses
think
us.
Russia would. Dude, China's economy is built on our
Yeah.
consumption.
Yes.
It absolutely is. Without America, China crumbles. You
Yes.
know,
100%.
Russia, their economy is built on freaking exports to Europe. They're not going to
Mm-hmm.
attack Europe. All of this BS about, oh, Russia's going to invade all the former Soviet Union countries. Putin's like, I'm not interested in their dirt. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you guys to get off of our freaking borders
Yeah.
and don't allow Ukraine to go into NATO.
Yep.
They kept pushing it, kept pushing it, kept pushing it. And that's
Exactly.
why he went and took that side of Ukraine, was to give himself a buffer against NATO.
Yep.
Okay. And
And
he
that was us
said,
doing that.
and he
We did that. The
totally,
United
that was
States did
all
that.
America and Great Britain.
Yep.
And he
Mhm.
said specifically, if you guys incorporate Ukraine into NATO, we
Yep.
will attack. We are forced to attack. This is an
Yeah.
existential threat to us.
Well,
NATO exists to protect Europe against Russia. So if China
Mhm.
put missiles on the border right outside of Texas, Arizona, California, you don't think America would do something about it?
Oh yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you out of your freaking mind? That's exactly what's happening over there.
That's what they did.
But we've
That's literally
been
what they did.
sold this idea of like, no, 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 they're always only
Mhm.
constantly wrong and evil and
Mhm.
always looking to do bad for Europe. Only we, America, are the good guys. Only we are benevolent in
Mhm.
everything we do. We don't ever do anything that's wrong or evil, but everything China or Russia ever does is evil, right?
Yep.
Those
Mhm.
guys
Mhm.
need to take care of their freaking countries too. So like, we would do the exact same thing. I'm not defending Putin. Don't give me that. I don't want to
Yeah.
see
No.
anything in the comments and clips saying like I'm a Russian shill or whatever. Not that I care what you say, but the thing is, we would do the exact same thing. The guy's protecting his own freaking country for its own interests.
You make a good point. Like if China came and put missiles at the border of Mexico pointed towards Texas,
What the heck do
which
you
is
think we would do?
exactly what we did, by the way, for those that don't know.
Yeah.
Like, and not only they said not 1 inch westward, and we took multiple countries and became part of NATO, even though they were still against Russia.
Bro, we had a treaty. We had
Yeah.
a freaking treaty with Russia
Yep.
saying that these additional countries will not be added. And there was a list of countries,
Yeah.
okay, including Ukraine.
Yep. And I think
They
like
added
11 of them.
every single country except for freaking one, I think.
Yeah.
Look that
Yeah.
up. Double check me. That's what I remember. Except for
Mhm.
Ukraine. And Russia didn't do anything about it. Okay. Until the last freaking one that would take up their only, I believe it's Black Sea port, which they
Yeah.
need to export their oil to Europe. Okay.
Yeah.
Once they said, hey, NATO is going to take Ukraine's going to be incorporated into NATO, they would likely lose that port access.
Yep.
And their economy is going to take it out. You know.
Yep. And then Russia's going to. He's going to be forced. Russia would get. Yep, Russia would get forced at that point into becoming a part of the oligarchy system that's trying to take over the world, and they knew that, and so they were aware of it. And you know what else? The president of Ukraine, that silly little dress dancing queer guy, what's his name?
Oh my God,
Zelensky. Yeah, that fool who's an actor, by the way, y'all. I don't know how ignorant anybody can be. Like, he's a freaking actor.
Pull it up.
Yeah, and wears and dancing in heels and a dress. Okay, like Zelensky was put in place after there was a big like coup or whatever with the Ukrainian government that the United States instigated. We created the problem and then put Zelensky in power to get this whole Ukrainian bullarchy law rule popping up like this. Like, that's literally what happened. We're the ones that did this. This whole thing with the Russian-Ukraine thing was as perpetrated by the United States. We the bad guys, y'all. We the bad guys.
Hold on.
What do you want to pull up? I don't know.
Oh, Zelensky dancing like a fruit bat.
Oh, this.
And the other thing, not a lot of people know this. You could look this up. I'm not making stuff up. I remember reading these and seeing videos on this. Within 1 week of Russia attacking Ukraine, Zelensky and Putin had actually come to terms. Okay, they came to terms for peace, and they were supposed to meet and sign whatever declaration it was, whatever contract it was. I forget what they're called, right? And guess who shows up? Boris Johnson from Britain shows up, or from England, whatever it's called nowadays, and tells Zelensky, do not sign any agreement with Russia. Don't give an inch. We will support you with everything that the West has, with NATO. America will support you. We talked them out of peace. And now, bro, there's at least 500,000, if not over 1 million, because neither side is telling us how many casualties there's been. Okay.
Yeah.
Both sides are trying to downplay it, but there is likely well over 1 million people that have been freaking slaughtered, all because the West got involved.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Check out Beyonce over here.
Human trafficking. Oh yeah, that's Zelensky. That's the president of Ukraine, guys, right there. Look at him dancing with the heels,
dude.
Look at him grabbing the dude's butt.
Send him another trillion. He deserves it.
Send him another trillion. Look for his. You know, the comical thing was that literally Zelensky was given a Oscar by what was that? What was that dude that gave him the Oscar?
I don't know.
Okay, there was some celebrity. This is the Ukrainian president, guys. And this isn't the only one of him dancing in heels like this.
There's others. There's one where he's
doing other stuff.
Dance.
Yeah, and then Zelensky given Oscar. This is hilarious. This is so hilarious. Like, it's so comical because it's so
by Sean
clearly.
Penn?
Yes.
No way.
It is so indicative of what's going on in our society.
Hi, Sean. Nice to meet you.
Great to see you. Great to see you again.
You're looking good.
Oh, thank you. Every time I have visited Ukraine, visited with you, every time I leave the country, I feel like a traitor. This is for you.
No, Sean.
Yes.
No.
Please.
That is yours.
No, I feel terrible.
The irony.
It's just a symbolic, silly thing.
Yes, but
if I know this is here with you, then I'll feel better and stronger for the fight.
It's so great to honor, but until we win.
When you win, bring it back to Malibu.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Because I'll feel much better knowing there's a piece of me here.
We have to win.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you so much.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh. It's so terrible.
We literally, like, the general population, we literally have no idea what's going on.
No, we don't.
We have no idea. These guys are just like, they've got us so divided and confused, even with like an overexposure to information and theories and social media and podcasts and everything we're guilty of too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They've got the information is so saturated in people's nobody knows what the heck's going on, what to believe. Somebody could actually be telling the truth, but then you have 8 other opinions about it, and people are like, yeah, but this guy said this, these guys said that. Do you remember even from like the news stations, bro, from mainstream news outlets, different stations, even during COVID, were saying different opposing things, or stations would say opposing things a week apart, so that no matter who you're talking to, when you try to have a discussion and be like, yeah, but I don't think so, because check out this news article, they'd pull up an article from a different news outlet or even from the same one and be like, yeah, but they're literally saying the exact opposite here. So it's literally like a buffet of information. And I think this is 100% strategic, just to flood our minds with information, disinformation, misinformation, whatever you want to call it, right?
They want it's divide and conquer. They want chaos. It's chaos out of control.
For sure.
It's the same thing. The satanic propaganda modem. It's literally, it says dissolve and coagula. It's written on the arms of Baphomet. It's create disorder and then bring everybody together under your vision. Really? They want chaos. Yeah, that's what they want. That's how they do this. That's how they achieve this, because humans can't handle chaos for so long. Eventually, the amount of stress trying to figure this math out and trying to understand what's going on will bring so much stress to the human mind, and the psyche will be like, you know what? I just want whatever narrative fits the subject. Like, there's people
for sure.
And they're going to be like, I don't care if it's true. I just want to live in my happy little bubble. For sure. I'm going to accept it. That's what they're trying to do. And that's why they promote people that are crazy too. That conspiracy theorists that are like way out there, they'll promote that stuff, and they want that out there because it creates more chaos. It creates more confusion. Yeah. It's like a red herring. It's deceiving you. It's literally like, this is kind of true, but a little bit extreme. Boom. You know, and it's a little bit off the trail, because anything off the trail of truth is going to create chaos in your heart and in your mind. And it doesn't matter, because humans, you got to be really level centered with your feelings and your emotions. When you feel something's off, a lot of times we'll go, well, if it's off that way, then it must be the other way. But then we go to the extreme other way because we knew that this way fell off rather than just a little bit the other way. We're not centered with our stuff and our emotions.
Dude, that, but also, like, I think about this sometimes, right? Because, like, okay, you guys need to realize, do you remember the world? I mean, kind of pre-Trump, right? So what's that, 2016? Do you remember the world pre-Trump? It was like,
totally different world.
It's like, kind of sucks once in a while, but life's kind of good. Like, things are great, right? For the most part.
We lived in a bubble. Well, in America here.
Well, for sure. But dude, from 2016 to now, oh my gosh, 2025, bro, 9 years. 9 years. I think of this insane psychological operation on not only America, but like the whole world, the whole freaking world. We went from Trump and riots and like the whole world's going to collapse, to then COVID, to then lockdowns, to then vaxes, to then misinformation about that, to the next election, to then wars, dude, it's a trajectory, to then aliens, to then, you know what I'm saying? Bro, the last 9 years, we're on this like trajectory that actually is escalating. We're not going, like, we're not going back. I hope people realize that. Like, I hope you realize life's not going to go back to normal, right? If 2015 was normal. I personally think it's actually only going to get worse and crazier and crazier and crazier. This thing is building to something. It's going to crescendo. And I, like, obviously as a Christian, right, believing the Bible and believing that there's going to be like end times with an antichrist and all sorts of supernatural shenanigans, right, that are happening on the earth to lead people astray. I think that's what this is leading towards this chaos, where people are so desperate, dude, so desperate. Like you said, mentally people will break at a certain point when there's so much chaos happening, right? that they're going to be desperate for just normalcy, for peace, for any kind of stability, right?
That's
And
what they want.
that's exactly where they want you. That's exactly where they want mankind, is when we're begging for a savior. And we currently are doing that with, to some degree, listen, hear me out, don't leave yet. We currently in America are doing that to some degree with Trump, right? We expect Trump to be some kind of savior figure for us. I'm not saying like a spiritual savior figure like Jesus,
Yeah.
but I can't tell you how many people I talk to. And listen, God bless the guy. I pray that he does everything he says he's going to do. Like I genuinely hope he can, and he does, right? And that they don't try to shoot him again or do anything like
I
another
think they'll
COVID,
just collapse. I think they're going to collapse the economy, and I think they're
another
going to blame it on
economic
him.
collapse that we've been waiting for since
Wow.
freaking 2014, or 15, the economy was supposed to collapse, right? That's what everybody was saying. All the analysts are predicting another collapse like 2008. It's the cycle. And all they did was print more money, right? And so I think a lot of people are looking to Trump for some kind of respite, some kind of normalcy, some kind of salvation, you know what I mean, from the insanity of this world. But listen, he's only one guy. Like, he can't fix the world, right? He could do a few things within his power. Think about when Biden got into office. He wiped clean everything that Trump ever did. He literally just signed executive orders that undid everything Trump did. Okay. Except for warp speed, which gave the pharmaceutical companies immunity, and the Supreme Court nominees. Those are the only two things that Biden didn't undo from Trump, from the Trump administration.
The two terrible things that he did.
I mean, the Supreme Court's, it's okay, but but they've also made some really stupid decisions lately that you're just like, what are you guys doing? But all that to say, like, there's only so much he could handle. He only knows so many things. Like, Trump's not on TikTok and like legislating and passing executive orders from like conspiracy theorists. You know what I'm saying? The man's limited. And I do think that even with Trump in power, today I was talking to a buddy of mine who's like ex special forces, ex CIA contractor, like pretty big time dude. And we were talking about this stuff with the Cybertruck, and getting his input on it. And he was telling me, listen, when we were on missions overseas, we would have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. If this happens, then we're doing this. If that happens, there's literally military intelligence dudes that's all they do. They just make plans of plans of plans on plans on plans. If this happens, if you go through this door, we go and have these 5 plans. If you go through this window, we have these 5 plans, and everything maps out. It's like what are those graphs called where everything has like spider webs and it kind of links to everything?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Okay, they literally, that's what they do for a living. You're telling me that the powers that be at the moment that are like ruling the world and governing things from the shadows, or the elite, or what's the other name? The dark
Illuminati.
Whatever you want to freaking call them. I don't care. You're telling me those guys don't have contingency plans in place for like any possibility, even like Trump? Of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they freaking do. Because like everybody does that. That's common sense. That's how you operate as a human who's like planning for the future. You know what I'm saying? So to me, a telltale sign that, and listen, I'm super pessimistic. Okay. So I'm sorry. A telltale sign that they may have a contingency plan in place for the next 4 years of Trump's presidency is that they didn't even try to freaking steal it. Okay. Yeah. They didn't even try. They threw 2 freaking burner candidates at Trump, Kamala and that gay tampon dude, right? Who nobody took seriously, like literally nobody. Okay. And that's who you're going to put up against freaking Donald Trump, who's only been getting more and more and more and more and more popular. Joe Rogan endorsed it. Elon Musk endorsed it. Like Tulsi Gabbard, all these Democrats coming over to the Republican ticket, right? You're going to throw these 2 people at Trump? You're kidding me. They didn't even try, because I don't think they needed to. I think they've got something planned already, And I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm just giving my opinion on what we're seeing and what's a possibility. You know, God bless the guy. I hope he could do something. But I do think we're on a trajectory, even prophetically, bro, which I'm not all about like prophecy and stuff like that. Not always. I do believe in it, but I don't think everything's always like prophetic. Okay.
I agree.
But I think we're on a trajectory right now that's basically on autopilot. And if you read your Bible and you take Revelation seriously, I don't think we can argue that like things get better before Christ comes back, right? And it seems to me like the trajectory we're on is actually towards this thing we read about called like the end times or the last days, talked about in Revelation. And that's why I think the freaking Antichrist is like going to be welcomed and worshiped, is because I think he gives humanity a respite from the insanity and the chaos and the psyop. You know what I'm saying? Because who wouldn't welcome a dude that's like, no more war here, no more war there, everything back to normal here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we're all hoping for, man. So I don't know how close we are to that. It could be another like 20 years of psychological damage. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be like in 20 days. Like, I don't know. But literally at any point it could happen. And I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
I completely know what you're saying. I think that there is a, like, I have a little bit different in my perspective understanding. Have you heard about the Little Season?
Little Caesars? Hate it.
Little Season.
No. What's that?
Your revelation already happened.
Oh boy, here we go.
And when you understand this, it makes even more sense of where we're at today. Okay.
Hit me.
Because, bro, I think we have to get another podcast to talk about this. Like, we're gonna have to go on another one altogether.
Okay, hold on. You're right. We'll do like an end times one or like an eschatology one. I think that'd be super fun. But let me ask you a question. In your paradigm, in your little, what'd you say, 2 wings or 2 birds?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Okay. In your perspective, is there room for aliens?
Possibly. It's I would say that there is a possibility that there is still some Nephilim genetic sequencing that's around. It's possible that still persists. But I would say that it's not exactly the pinnacle of the experiment that we're dealing with. So like, if that does exist, it's going to be a small remnant component of it. And I had a lot of the belief that this was all headed towards Revelation and the third temple being built and all that stuff. Like I used to follow that, and
that's right up our alley, bro.
I used to, and now I've seen a different perspective that the Lord just started showing me the more I read and the more I researched about the little star children that we have here in Revelation 6:9 or Revelation 3:9 and Revelation 2:9, which I probably can't even quote, because for those viewers, go ahead and look up Revelation 2:9 and Revelation 3:9. I don't even know if I can read that, because I think technically it falls under the new anti-Semitic law, which, by the way, is technically illegal for me to even say those Bible verses.
Insane.
Technically.
Insane.
Yeah, the only free speech in America right now that you cannot say is literally against the star children. And that makes the Bible in Revelation illegal. Okay? Just so you guys know, because there's 2 verses in there that will speak against the star children. And when you understand that the star children are the synagogue of Satan, and it says it very clearly in the Bible, and you realize what's really going on, Revelation 20 tells you, it says for 1,000 years, Satan is bound. And then afterwards he is released. He must be released for a little while to deceive the nations. And when you read that, I mean, it starts to make a whole lot more sense. I mean, if you want me to read Revelation 20, I mean, we can do it. But
okay. I think, okay, listen, the reason I asked the question about the alien stuff, it seems kind of like out of left field, but obviously the disclosures, the orbs, like all of this stuff that's constantly being pushed on us, right? Whether you think it's the
Mhm.
government or you think it's China or you think it's real aliens or you think it's demons, whatever you think, it doesn't matter. Like something's happening, right? And there's a narrative being like created right now,
Mhm.
which isn't going away. It's only getting more prominent. You know what I'm saying? It's only growing. It's only getting more popular. And people are only talking about it more. So to me, I have to factor in two things into Revelation. I have to factor in technology. I almost flipped you off, but I stopped myself. So I'm proud. So technology is one that needs to be accounted for if you still think Revelation is on the horizon, or in the future.
Mhm.
And I think the alien stuff is another thing that needs to be accounted for when you try to understand like a future end times perspective. Because a big one for me was when I read Revelation 16:13. Then I saw three
Mhm.
unclean spirits that looked like
Frogs.
frogs coming out of the mouth of the
Yep.
dragon and out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of demons. So the frog like spirits are spirits of demons performing signs who go
Mhm.
out to the kings of the earth to bring them together for the battle that will take place on the great day of the Lord. What?
Mhm.
What do you what do you mean? So this is the only time spirits in the Bible, demonic spirits in the Bible are referred to as frog-like. Okay.
Mhm.
When I think frog-like, I mean, obviously because I'm saturated in like modern culture, I instantly think reptilian, the grays that are slimy and, flamboyant or whatever they are. But
Flamboyant.
I couldn't think of another word. Uh, but that's what I think like. And what a coincidence. Like if John is having a vision, right? And he's just like taking it in
Yeah.
of the future.
Right.
And there's like straight up aliens that are like, I genuinely believe if something comes from anywhere else to this planet and says, hello, I can't even do it. Hello, we're from wherever. I think it's
That's a star,
demonic.
that's a star person symbol, by the way. You just
That
did.
was,
This? Yeah, this is a
I,
star symbol.
I didn't even know that. I thought I was throwing up
Yeah, you
gang
didn't.
signs,
I know.
interdimensional gang signs.
This is also the Spock symbol is a star person
Yes.
symbol.
I didn't know that.
It's a star children symbol. It also represents the cloven hooves of the unclean.
I'm not going to do it anymore.
No, I'm just letting you know that's what that actually is.
Okay.
But people don't know that because they don't study the star people. You study the star people, you start learning some things that you're going to be like, wait a second, the star people kind of run the show. They actually are integrated into all of our culture.
Yeah, I do believe that. So if John's having this vision and he really does see some beings that are like, again, the grays or reptilian or whatever, what word do you think he's going to use to describe what he's seeing? He doesn't have the word alien. That word doesn't exist. Okay. But a word that does exist is frog. A word that does exist is demon. So
Yeah.
he uses those to describe whatever the heck he's saying. And it kind of sounds akin to what we're describing as like alien or interdimensional or whatever. You know what I mean? But he specifically tells us and warns us that these things are demonic. And they're here to lead mankind to battle against Jesus' second coming. Holy smokes, bro.
There is so much more to that. I want to say things right now, but I don't think I'm allowed to say things yet. The like, because we gotta go on another podcast, bro. Like we're gonna talk about this in more detail. Because when we talk about this in more detail, there's parts in Revelation that just doesn't make sense. Like I don't know if you know, there's a part in Daniel that talks about the Battle of Armageddon that we're in the direction to. It says that the spears from the battle will be used as firewood for 10 or 7 years. 7 years. The spears from the Battle of Armageddon, after God desolates the land around, will be used as firewood for 7 years. Do we use spears anymore?
No, of course not.
So either the Bible's lying or it already happened. We don't use spears, bro. How are they going to use spears for 7 years from the Battle of Armageddon situation?
You don't think that when
Jesus said, some of you standing here today will not taste death until you see the Son of Man coming in his glory on the clouds. Who's alive today?
Me.
Some of you standing here today will not taste death. Is Jesus a liar, or did Jesus already come?
Well, he did already come, right? After
he
his
said, this is his second coming. He said this. After his resurrection, he said, some of you standing here today will not taste death till you see the Son of Man coming in glory on the clouds.
This is after his resurrection?
Oh, I believe so, yeah. So
next time on Menace the Menace.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, man. Bro, there's so many things that we've skipped over in the biblical context because we believe this churchianity view. But did you know that the rest of the world believed that Revelation already happened all the way up until when Israel became a nation again?
I get it.
And the Star Children perpetuated this idea of preterism. And this other idea is that they started, the Star Children actually created this idea that Revelation hasn't happened yet. And they changed the narrative and then put it forth in all of the churches that they funded. They funded all of the Christian organizations that were all the church thing. They paid for them. So you weren't allowed to talk bad about them because they had all the money.
Yeah.
That funded all the schools that all the Christians went to. Okay. So of course you're going to get a bent worldview of the biblical narrative. But when you start reading it, there was an event that happened in history that Josephus writes about in 70 AD. And it wasn't just written by Josephus. There was 2 other historians wrote about seeing chariots and troops of armor coming on the clouds. They said the entire world and surrounding of all the cities in the entire world heard and saw, and there was a great earthquake. And they said, let us be gone. And a year before that, for an entire year, there was a comet that hung above the earth for an entire year that looked like a sword before this event happened. And then they said everybody saw it. And they said, he even says, perhaps it would have been a fable had not the ones that saw it really actually witnessed it. You would assumed it was to be a fable. But we all saw chariots and troops of armor coming in the clouds.
Yeah. I get it. I'm not like super premill dispensational guy. That's not me.
Yeah.
Trust me. But I do think that there are things we're seeing happening which kind of fit the bill, you know? And you're right. Pre-Israel, 1947, becoming a nation again. It would be very hard to make the case that like, oh yeah, Revelation hasn't been fulfilled. Okay. We know about the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. We know about not a brick being left one on top of another. We know about all these details. Even Josephus's thing, right? With the things in the sky. Like these have been discussed. But then magically Israel becomes a nation again. Then
Satan will be released to deceive the whole nation. The synagogue of Satan.
Oh, you think that the deception is coming?
This is the deception, bro. You're living in it.
Oh, Satan's currently released, deceiving the nation.
He was released in 1776.
Why 1776? America?
Because that's when America was formed, bro.
Next time on Menace the Menace.
That's why we're called America. Amaru. Amaru means the dragon. Amaru Ka means the land of the dragon. Not even joking, bro.
What?
Why do you think we have a pyramid on our dollar bill, bro? That's the Tower of Babel. It's the unfinished Tower of Babel. That's why the top of the pyramid's removed. And that's why you have the little eye coming down to finish the Tower of Babel. That eye represents Satan.
Dude.
That Satan was a cherub. What do the cherubs look like? They're covered in eyes. Why do you think there's an eye coming down to finish the top of the pyramid? The unfinished Tower Babel on our American dollar bill. You think that's George Washington on that dollar bill? That's Zeus. That's Zeus.
Zeus Washington?
Zeus Washington. Straight up, bro. That's why you have an obelisk to Zeus Washington in the middle of our United States Capitol. Bro, we are living in the Great Deception. This is what, and the idea is that they want Christians to think, okay, well, the world's got to get bad and it's okay. We can't do anything about it. They want that idea. They want you to think that.
That's me.
That's what they want. They want you to think that. They want you to think you can do nothing about it because guess what? Then you just roll over and take it.
Bro, I've been psyoped by the Star Children.
Yes, you've been psyoped by the Star Children. 100%. If you think that the Christians, I know, bro. I'm so sorry.
Happens every time.
Sorry to break it to you. The Star Children want you to feel like there's nothing you can do about it. They want you to not fight. They want you to accept it. They want you to go, oh, well, it's got to get bad. It's got to, give up, How wicked of an idea is that what the Christians think? Oh, I hope the rapture comes. The rapture comes and just takes me away and everyone else dies and suffers in pain. You think that's Jesus loving you? No, fool. That's selfishness and pride. That's what that is.
Damn. Fire. Straight fire.
Yeah, bro. Straight. That's what that is, dude. And you got to recognize it for what it is. That is not the love of Christ. That is the love of yourself. The Christians that are like, oh, I just want the rapture to happen so I can get out of this hellhole that I'm in. No, fool. You're supposed to make it not hell. You're being deceived and you're being lied to believe that it has to be hell. That's what's happening right now. And the Star Children lied to y'all.
I'm so scared to check the comments right now.
This is what's happening.
Guys, let Brian know what you think.
This is what's happening for reals.
I will say, listen, you have to be fair. Okay. I'm not a big end times guy, rapture guy. The best thing I've ever heard about this. I'll talk about it. I think we all have opinions, right? But I'm not trying to propagate my opinion over anybody else. This is just what makes sense to me at the moment. My mind changes all the time. Okay. You have to be fair no matter where you land with end time stuff. Okay. Prophecy biblically is rarely ever meant to be understood instantly.
Fully.
You know what I mean? Fully. Unless it's something specific to somebody where God comes and says, hey, or a vision comes and is like, this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then this is going to happen. Okay. But when it's something vast, global, nationally, rarely is it understood fully until after it already happens. That's why these discussions have been going on for 2,000 years since Revelation was written. Okay. There's been debate about what's really going to happen based on what Revelation and Daniel and these prophecies are saying. So to be fair, both sides, people that think the post-mill people that think everything was already fulfilled to some degree and all we're waiting for is Jesus to be returned or to return, they use the same Bible and the same passages to back their perspective up. And then the pre-mill people that think end times are still on the horizon and there's going to be a rapture, they use the same passages to back their perspective up. So we have to be fair and just be honest and say, neither of us know. We literally don't know. And we probably will only know after it already has happened. The whole purpose is, all we have to know and keep in mind is Jesus wins. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if there's a rapture. It doesn't matter if there's an antichrist. It doesn't matter if it's already fulfilled and we've got another 5,000 years to go till Jesus comes back. Jesus wins. It doesn't matter if aliens come. It doesn't matter if America is the great dragon or whatever. It doesn't matter. Jesus comes back at a certain point in time, wipes it out. You know what I'm saying? And he rules and reigns for eternity. That's what we do know and do agree upon, because that's very, very, very clear from the Bible.
Yeah. Let me read you Luke 17, because this is important to understand this. The coming kingdom of God. So Luke 17:20. Once it says the coming kingdom of God. Once on being asked by the Pharisees when the kingdom of God would come, Jesus replied, the coming of the kingdom of God is not something that can be observed. Boom. You can't observe it. Okay. Nor will people say, here it is, or there it is, because the kingdom of God is in your midst. Okay. Jesus says, if I cast out demons by the finger of God, you know that the kingdom of God is upon you. So that means kingdom of God was already here. Okay. Then he said to his disciples, the time is coming when you will no longer see one of the days of the Son of Man, but you will not see it. People will tell you, there he is, or there he is. Do not run off after them. For the Son of Man in his day will be like the lightning, which flashes from and lights up the sky from one end to the other. But first he must suffer many things and be rejected by his generation. So there was a star that shone in the sky for a whole year that Josephus wrote about. And then it was like an event that happened. Okay. Just as written in the days of Noah, so it will also be in the days of the Son of Man. People were eating and drinking, being merry, and being given up to marriage. But on the day of Noah entered the ark, then the floods came and destroyed them all. It was the same day that Lot's people were eating and drinking, buying and selling, planting and building. But the day of Lot left Sodom, fire and sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. It will be just like this on the day of the Son of Man is revealed. On that day, no one who is on the housetop will be with possession inside should go down and get them. Likewise, no one in the field should go back for anything. Remember Lot's wife. Whoever tries to keep their life will lose it. Whoever loses their life will preserve it. I tell you, on the night, 2 people will be in bed. One will be taken. One will be taken, the other left. 2 women will be grinding together. One will be taken, the other left. Where, Lord? They asked. He replied, where will they be taken? They're asking. Where there is a dead body, there the vultures will gather. This is your concept of traditional concept of rapture. Where there is dead body, the vultures will gather. Does that sound like a bunch of people are going to get zapped up into the sky to be with the Lord Jesus and resurrected? Or does that sound like a lot of people are going to fall over dead and vultures are going to eat their dead bodies? Sounds a little bit more like people are going to fall over dead than it does people disappearing into the clouds with Jesus and being caught up, doesn't it?
Okay, I'll be fair. I really, really want to get somebody on to go in depth on Rapture.
Yeah, we can totally do it.
Because I've been taught the Rapture as part of this like system of end time stuff. And I've heard like a couple verses here and there.
That's one of the main verses.
But I really want somebody to come in and like lay it out from scripture, be like, this is why we believe in a rapture, is because
we'll do it. I'll lay it out. I'll bring up I know all the verses.
You're the guy?
Bro. Yeah.
Bro, you're
the
two-wing guy.
Verses.
But you're the two-wing guy.
I can tell you.
You might be the guy I bring on to counter the rapture guy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, if you're gonna bring out 2 guys, that's fine. But I'm just saying, I can tell you all the verses that we bring up about the rapture. This is one of them. It literally says 1 will be in the field, 2 women will be grinding together, 1 will be taken, 1 will be left. And then there's another verse that says we will be caught up in the sky. And that's it. There's like 3 verses. Okay, and there's another one in Matthew. Okay, and it says that in the twinkling of an eye, all right? And they confound these whole verses to go, oh, we're just going to just disappear into the sky with Jesus and leave everyone else behind to die in suffering and hell and torment.
Judgment.
Oh, wonderful. Yay, your brothers and sisters are going to suffer in hell and torment on the earth and die.
People are happy about it. I'm just saying.
Bro, talk to any Christian that is happy about the... Yeah, talk to the Christians that are like, I can't wait for the rapture. Selfish, disgusting.
I will say that more and more people I talk to are bringing up the rapture as an escape, you know, not so much as like our concern should be for like the people around us, right? Like we're supposed to be.
That's what you're supposed to do. Just to love people,
loving people, proclaiming the gospel constantly. Like our concern in our heart should be for the people around us, you know? And I do feel like rapture is often used as a means of escape. Because realistically, like, so what if we're down here suffering? Like we know we have an eternal reward. The longer we're down here for, the longer we have time to like talk to my neighbor, talk to my friend, like, you know what I mean? So we shouldn't be yearning to escape, because that just means more people go to hell, because we're not here like spreading the gospel, you know? The rapture, if it's like legit, it should be like a sweet and sour kind of thing. It's sweet, but it's also sour because like we're gone and there's nobody left to proclaim the gospel, right? And then some people get into the whole idea of like, then the Holy Spirit's gone off the face of the earth. But I don't know if I buy all that, and I don't want to get into it too much. But anyway, that's why I think aliens are real.
Yeah.
They're just
But my
demons.
point, the only point that I bring this up is to make the statement that the government wants you to believe that there's no help and that there's no way out and that the world's going to go to crap, and you better relinquish your rights and your beliefs and your fears and surrender your fears to them. You know, it's Al-Qaeda, it's the devil, it's Satan, it's, you know, it's everybody but the Star Children and but the United States government. It's everybody but the Star Children. And they want you to be afraid of all of it. And so that way they can control you. So that way the synagogue of Satan can continue to control you. That's why. And so once the synagogue of Satan has full control, then we're going to deal with the battle. And the battle is going to be against God's children in Revelation 20. And the God's children in Revelation 20 is the Christians. And you'll see a battle's coming. There is a battle coming. It's not the same battle that you see in Revelation, but there is a battle coming. And it's going to be against the Christians. And you're going to see the whole world is going to turn against the Christians very soon.
I believe that. But listen, that's also part of the like dispensational theology, right? Is that like, or end time stuff? Is that, I mean, the world's going to turn against and persecute Christianity?
Yeah, in a way, but not necessarily the same way. People are thinking there's like some help that's coming or whatever. Like, bro, you are the help. You are the help. And that's the problem, is that if we get so weak to the state that we don't realize that we're the help, you're just going to get your lambs to the slaughter.
I'll be honest though, like from my personal experience, and I think this would be a good way to end it. Like with all the fear mongering, we understand what the government's doing. We understand the psyop that the world's under and like the emotional distress, mental distress, pushing everybody towards this breaking point where we're crying out for a savior figure, right? I understand that. That has no effect on me. I'm good. Like, I don't really care what's going on. Like, I win. Jesus wins.
Jesus wins.
I know
That's
this.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you think Revelation's been fulfilled and we're already in the millennium, right? Or if you think Revelations is being fulfilled and we're waiting for like a rapture and a second coming of Christ and all that. It doesn't matter. Jesus wins. And I know that. So I don't really care. Like, I love, and the chat's been blowing you up, just so you know. I love hearing differing perspectives because it makes me have to sharpen my own opinion, you know what I mean? And be able to like defend it more. And as long as you say Jesus wins, I couldn't care less what you think the rest of the stuff means. You know what I mean? Because both parties are using scripture to make their points. Like, I can't deny that you just read those passages about the rapture. I can't come up with more to give you. You know what I mean? And I think if we agree that Jesus wins, we're good. I couldn't care less about the rest, because the best thing I've ever heard was pray that there is a rapture, but live as if there isn't. Bro,
that's good.
That's a game changer for me. Okay. I don't care what's happening in the world. I literally don't. It doesn't affect me because I know I'm in Christ and I know that he wins. And so do we as a result. Okay. So in the meantime, as things are getting crazier, I'm like talking more about Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking to more people. I'm more bold because I'm like, from my perspective, I'm like, dude, if times are short, I need to get my butt into gear because I haven't done jack crap. You know what I mean? Starting this podcast was part of that. Was like, dude, I haven't done anything. And there's all this crazy stuff going on. Let me talk to my buddy Dennis, who's also thinks like there's some crazy stuff going on and we're kind of on the same page. You know what I mean? And this is part of like what we're doing in the end times from our perspective. You know? So I would say it doesn't matter where you land on like end time stuff. Get your butt into gear. Be doing as much as you can for God. There's no way you can justify just like sitting back, being scared, and doing nothing for God in these moments.
Yeah, you need
regardless
to be
of what your end times perspective is. If you think 100%. The rapture is coming and you're not freaking talking to your neighbors and stuff, shame on you. If you think it's already been fulfilled and all we're and like Satan's about to be released or is already released, and we're just waiting for Christ to come back, and you're not talking to your neighbors and sharing the gospel, shame on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Well, are people in the chat like, no, he's wrong, he's crazy? Tell me the
Oh my god!
consensus.
I
Tell
can't
me the
wait.
consensus. I want to see.
Tough to listen to.
Tough to listen to.
Hold on. Dang it, where was another one? There was another one where it was like dangerous gospel or dangerous. I love it. But listen, it doesn't matter. Guys, you have to realize like people are allowed to have various opinions. And as long as they believe in Jesus as the Son of God, died for your sins, forgiven, were in him, rose on the third day, like the gospel, right? As long as they believe that, people can vary on interpretations of things that are not set in stone. You have to realize end time stuff has been argued over for 2,000 years. It's the same freaking thing as predestination versus free will. It's been argued over for thousands of years because it is not clear in the Bible. Okay.
Here, let me read Revelation 20 just real quick because people are opposing this. I'm just going to tell them where
we're gonna do a whole thing just on end times. Okay. We started with Cybertruck explosion and like errors. Like we got into like 2 sentences of the email. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Watch and the screen share because of the echo.
Oh, okay. Let me pause.
Yeah. We got into like 2 sentences of the email, and now we've blasted off into freaking end time stuff. But listen, like, it's what we're waiting for. We're all waiting for Christ to come back. We believe that, and we know that's going to happen, right? Whatever happens in between, people are arguing about. But Cybertruck, dude, Trump as president, terrorist attacks, psyops on the whole world, that falls into my category of end time stuff, and it falls into your category until Christ comes back. You know what I mean?
The truth. Oh, it was fun.
Can I ask you one more quick question?
Yeah.
Since you're the demon eraser or erasers and you deal with like supernatural demonic stuff, do they ever like talk about end time stuff to you?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I have it's interesting. I had one guy, one of my friends who casts out demons like I does. He hears some of my Nephilim theory stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, it's a little weird out there." But he like went and prayed for a girl, and the girl started talking. The demon started talking to the girl, and he's like, "What?" She said that she was a bride of Satan. She said, "This vessel is a bride of Satan," and he's like, "Whatever, bride of Satan. Like, there's a million brides of Satan." And he's like, "What makes her so special?" And then the demon started laughing through her, and she's like, "She's not special." And the demon like starts laughing that he was like, "Oh, you call yourself a bride of Satan through this girl." Mind you, this girl's in and out of reality. She's like totally full on possessed. The demon comes through, and he's like, "Well, then who are you?" And the demon goes, "I'm the guard." He goes, "She's not special at all." He goes, "We have thousands of brides of Satan." And he goes, and then he said something about everyone that took the vaccine is a host, is a potential host for another bride of Satan. And so he's like, he's kind of like, what are you getting at here? And then the demon starts like laughing and mocking him. He's like, "You have no clue. You have no clue what we are doing. We are making an army and preparing the people to be vessels for more and greater demonic possession." That's what the demon started saying.
And was he connecting this to Nephilim stuff because of like genetic alteration and that kind of stuff?
Yes. And so the demon through the girl said some stuff. I forget exactly. I'd have to call him and ask him exactly specifically because I don't want to like misquote him. But the girl said some stuff about that, like Nephilim genetic sequencing things were related to what she is. And then he said they're making multiple vessels to bear the next generation of hybrids. That's what she said.
Oh, shoot.
That's what she said. Preparing multiple vessels to prepare the next generation of hybrids. That's what he told him. And so he called me and was like, bro, he's like, I know you talk about this Nephilim genetic stuff all the time, and I didn't quite think you were like right, but he goes, I just have to tell you this experience I just had. He goes, honestly, bro, I'm kind of tripped out. Like,
Wow.
he was like, this is kind of weird. He's like, I just feel like I need to tell you. I don't know why. It's really strange. He was like, this is what the demon started saying through the girl.
Have you ever heard of anything else demonic that has to do with like end time stuff?
You know, I talked to a demon once, and it told me it was 3,000 years old, which I was like, that's not how old the earth is. And then it was like laughing that it was like, yeah, so what? It was
Wait, what do you
like,
mean the earth isn't 3,000 years old?
the earth is older than 3,000 years old.
Oh. The demon
So,
was only 3,000 years old, even though the earth is old. Okay.
yeah, and I was like, that's not how old the earth is. And he was like, yeah, because we're born still. Like, and like, that was an interesting insight that I've gotten from stuff. But the there was some other things that I've heard, and I called a demon a Nephilim once. I was like, what are you, some sad little Nephilim? And the demon like scoffed at me and was offended. And he was like, I'm not a Nephilim. He's like, you think I'm that low? It was like I offended him.
Oh.
He was like, I am way higher than a Nephilim. So like Nephilim to demons are like lower ranked entities or vessels. So like they're like vessel bodied things that to them they don't think it's like a high ranking position.
Right. Nothing about like Antichrist, Mark of the Beast, none of that kind of stuff.
I haven't gotten anything directly other than the one that my friend was telling me about. For the most part, I don't ask the demons questions.
Sure.
You're not supposed to ask demons questions. Like there's deliverance ministers that try to ask demons questions. They are completely wrong. And if you see a deliverance minister doing that, like he is channeling a demon. He's liable to be lied to, because he's asking the demon questions. Like you can't ask a demon questions. You're channeling a spirit at the moment you start asking it questions. So like, and so like people are like, oh, what about asking the demon's name? Like you can ask it its name because that's its title. That's what it's calling itself. You don't need to ask it its name, but you can do that. Jesus did that, right? And so, but Jesus didn't say, well,
like
how
interrogate them.
Yeah. No, the minute you're interrogating like that, you're actually channeling.
Got it.
You are doing witchcraft. You are full on participating in witchcraft in the occult. And there's so many deliverance ministers that do this and they don't even recognize that they're doing witchcraft and they have no freaking clue.
Dang.
They start casting demons out and straight up go into witchcraft. And they're
that,
like, tell me how old you are. Tell me how you entered. Tell me where you're from. Tell me your name. And then like people will start channeling for the demon and the demon will get control and they'll like go into different mindsets even, bro. Like you'll be praying for somebody and they start doing that. And then the person thinks it's okay to channel. And so then the person will start being like, I was their grandmother and I got killed when I was 32, their great grandmother. I was murdered by a person and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like going into somebody that does like past life age regression bullcrap. They literally it'll start doing that. And people think it's like, they think it's like good. They think it's Jesus and Christian. It's not love, dude. You're tormenting these people. Jesus operates in love. When you see a deliverance minister not operating in love, they have no freaking clue what they're doing. Run away. Don't talk to that person. That dude's operating in the occult. He's operating in witchcraft, unbeknownst to himself, usually, because they don't realize that they're doing it. Because demons are tricky sometimes, and they like to play with people.
That's what in the comments people are like, well, don't demons just lie all the time?
They can lie, and they're liable to lie. They don't lie to me in some instances. I've caught them, but they have lied to me in the past. But the reason why they don't lie to me is because if you operate in the spirit of truth and love, they can't lie. But there are some demons that if you start talking to them, they can lie. If I started asking them questions, they'll lie to me. And it's like, they'll tell me where they came from. And I don't even care. I don't even care where they came from. I don't give them credence. Because like, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to have it. Don't answer me questions. So I'm like, don't even talk to me, demon. I'm like, shut your mouth. I'm not here for you. You're leaving. Person's getting delivered in freedom.
Yeah.
And so, dealing with demonic stuff, like you get a lot of unusual answers. They make up stories. Demons are the king of stories, by the way. Okay. Let me tell you what, demons love stories. They love it. It's like movies is their playground. They make up stories left and right. They fantasize story. Dude, demons and stories are like one and the same, bro.
So it could be
They
that
are.
it could be that Vax Nephilim thing could also be a made up story, right?
It completely could be a made up story. Completely.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what level of my friend perpetuating the question out of him was.
Sure.
Like if he was, if in his heart, the demon, if he was answering the question out of like power or desire or the wrong intention, the demon's liable to lie to him.
Mm.
So the demon can lie to you if your heart is not right, basically. And I know that sounds, it's like kind of hard to like determine that. But like if you're, and so like I had to like, when people tell me their story, I'm like kind of like, okay, well, where was your heart at when you asked the question? I always have to ask my deliverance. I'm like, where was your heart? Like how valid is that statement? Because if your heart is, if you were asking it because you thought it was cool, you probably got to lie. If you're asking it because you were like genuinely wanting to help this person, maybe you got a truth, maybe. So but demons love stories. So, you know, I've gotten some answers unbeknownst to the demon. Like when the demon told me he was like scoffed at the fact that I called him a Nephilim. Like it was like not a response to me asking a question.
It was like
it was just like, I feel, yeah, it was almost like he was like, I'm not a Nephilim. He's like, why would you even call me that? Like it was almost like, it wasn't like me asking a question. It was like a response. So you can get information from demons through seeing their reaction and responses, basically, but it's not like you're fishing for the answers.
I'm good, bro. I'm good. That's your ministry. I'm like, that stuff. I mean, I think it's for, I don't think it's for everybody. I think most people would like poo their pants. You know what I mean?
Oh, bro, there's some stuff that you don't even want to know.
I'm totally, I believe you 100%. But Brian, dude, great time. We're 2 hours in. We started with freaking Cybertrucks and terror attacks, and we're on do demons tell you about end time stuff?
Yeah.
But I love it. This was a great Saturday hang. Thank you guys for everybody that joined in. Listen, it's just two buddies talking, right?
Yeah.
Sharing opinions and speculating on what's going on in the world. And I will say, I think that if anything tonight was a reminder that Jesus wins. No, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Everything else is negligible, right?
Love one another. Always operate in love.
That's it, bro. Love one another. Jesus wins. I don't know what else to say other than thank you for coming on. Everybody, thank you for joining us. And we'll have to do another one. Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. Have a good night. And again, Brian, thanks. If you could stay on as usual after I end it, just so it uploads, you know. Good stuff, bro.